Jana, this has been a pretty big year for business stories. What's the biggest story that you worked on this year?
I think the biggest story I worked on, or most significant that just broke, was Dale Donahue, local contractor developer, who purchased the Mann Biomedical Park and Sylmar Biomedical Park, partnering with Oak Tree Capital. But it's one of the biggest deals in Southern California. And the fact that someone local would own the park is really significant. And he's quite committed to continuing to improve and enhance the park for biomedical companies.
Which has become a really big cluster.
It has. There's big name companies there. You've got the Alfred Mann Foundation, you've got Boston Scientific, you've got Advanced Biotics. But what made this deal significant is this was one of the fastest deals, let alone the size of the deal, which was pegged by experts at over $100 million. The fastest deals I've ever seen put together from start to finish, 5 months from the bid to closing. I've never seen a deal close that fast.
And it's a huge property.
It's a huge property.
And expensive, even though they won't tell you exactly what the price was, like a lot.
Yeah, that's why I reached out to some industry people just to give me a ballpark, and they're pegging it over $100 million.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a significant price for the Santa Clarita Valley. Do you think this will kickstart even more biomed companies coming up here?
You know, interesting you asked that. I think it will. They're going to do some more building. First, they're going to work on enhancing some of the older structures. But I just found out that he was also behind the grant that the Economic Development Corporation in Santa Clarita applied for, biomedical grant to build like a shared space incubator, clean room, that type of thing, so smaller biomedical startups can use the space. He co-sponsored that grant application.
You've been business editor of The Signal for several years now. How do you peg this past year in business news in comparison to some other years?
You know, officially the government said the recession ended December 2010, but there was virtually no movement in the business community, and I think this past year we really saw the confidence starting to surface. You had Samsung open R&D audio lab out here and chose Santa Clarita over Silicon Valley. Sunkist, a 120-year-old growers cooperative, moved out here, and Mankind it finally got FDA approval for its insulin treatment device after nearly a decade and more than $1 billion investment. So you've got companies, big name companies moving out here, you've got people expanding, and then the purchase of the park. You had not seen any movement like that in the prior years.
Yeah. It'd been pretty dead, but it was pretty dead all over the place.
Yes, it was almost like a 4-year recovery from the point they announced it's recovered.
Jana, you really enjoy covering business news, and you know, we're a fairly small community media organization, and often business news doesn't get prominent play in other newspapers of our size. I feel we pay pretty close attention to the business community. How do you feel we do in covering business here?
Considering our size, we're the only one putting the spotlight on Santa Clarita businesses. Broadcast and print pretty much ignores this area, and there's some pretty significant business opportunities and companies out here. So I'm really proud of the fact that we have put Santa Clarita front and center on a stage. We put the spotlight on. We've helped economically by showing the growth and the success of what's out here, and pretty much we're the only one that focuses exclusively on the area.
There is a lot of business news, probably more so than other types of news that goes on here that I don't think the region even knows about. And they just think it's just part of Los Angeles or something. They don't understand that it's a you know, significantly identifiable geographic area that offers something different than rest of LA does.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Some people just think it's part of the greater LA market, which it is. And then there's the fact where others are still saying Santa Clarita, they don't realize how big it's become and really how industrious it is. And the fact that companies are choosing us to expand and to locate here shows their confidence in our market. And it's a shame that it's been overlooked by all other media.